Welcome back to Recipe Club, the show where we debate the best way to cook the things you want to eat. My name is Chris Ying. Today, on our season premiere,
Yes!
I am joined by my Recipe Club co-founder and fellow zero-time champion of Recipe Club, Chef David Chang, loving husband to Grace for 8 years, Dinner Time Live producer, Becky Joiner, coming up on her 4-year anniversary to Jess, and Chef Nico de Leon of La Cita here in Los Angeles, devoted husband to Kaylee for the past 3 years. Why am I airing our club members' romantic personal business? Because today is our Valentine's Day episode in which we are going to debate the best way to cook a delicious, romantic,
erotic,
sexy, erotic,
Ew.
sensual dinner for your significant other. These three are here because they're all in relationships that have stood the test of time, and I believe that is in no small part due to the fact that they have satisfied their partners' bellies and beyond.
Careful where you go there.
Oh,
wow.
Today on the show,
Way to assume.
Each of them has cooked a Valentine's Day themed recipe, and instead of sharing it with their respective spouses, they brought it into our studio to share with their fellow Recipe Club members. They all tasted everything, inspected everything, wrote down their notes and thoughts. We're going to get to all of that in a little bit. But first, let's talk about Valentine's Day. David Chang, you are on the record, I believe, many, many times as saying Valentine's Day is your favorite holiday in the entire... Why
My
do you
favorite, it's my favorite holiday to ridicule.
Why do you feel it's worthy of ridicule, Dave?
That I need a day to remind myself that I should love people.
That is very...
Because I'm full of love every day.
Yeah, this
all day, 365. That's me, Mr. Love.
Every day is Valentine's Day for this mother. What about you? You other two, are either you going to stand up, Nico, Becky, for Valentine's Day as a holiday?
It's tough because my husband's birthday is February 15th.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah. So Valentine's Day is kind of like lost its shine. It's not really like,
it's not a double. It's not a Valentine's Day birthday.
well, we realized very quickly, like making reservations, trying to make things happen for Valentine's Day is always a hassle. Trying to do it for his birthday also, since it falls so close to it, it makes everything more complicated.
Well,
so
we know this. I know this much about Becky. Excuse me.
Oh my
you
God, I'm
hate,
excited to hear
You
this.
hate Halloween.
What?
You hate Halloween.
Are you? Do you want me to feel that way? Are you like mind incepting me right now? I love Halloween. Dave? Have you
No,
met
which
me?
is why I was a little bit surprised to hear you say that you don't like Valentine's Day because you're so pro Halloween.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
It does
Well,
seem
it's
like the
'cause
nature of your extra personality would like suit
Yeah.
itself to Valentine's Day.
That's
you are,
so
you
nice
are,
of
you
you.
are
Thank you.
everyday carpe diem type of person.
Oh my God, guys, thank you so much for seeing the true me.
Yeah.
The true me sees the true you. No, all of my energy goes to Halloween, so there's none left for Valentine's Day. That's really what it is.
Before I ask Nico this question, I mean, you said, your husband's birthday is on February 15th, so it's taking some of the shine off Valentine's Day. I don't know if Jess is a listener to Recipe Club, but did you maybe celebrate Valentine's Day more enthusiastically before your husband?
Oh.
That's a great question. Actually, no, because I didn't really have
Love.
yeah.
This is your life.
It's true.
Nico, come on, man. Stand up for Valentine's Day. Are you a Valentine's Day guy?
So I've been a professional working chef for 15 plus years now.
So you've never even sniffed a Valentine's Day outside of the kitchen.
Valentine's Day really consists of preparing food for others, them coming into wherever I'm working and making food for others, which is fun, but it also sucks for my spouse.
Is it fun?
It can be. It's
Come
one
on,
of those...
man. I don't believe that at all. That
it's like
was
Mother's Day brunch sucks, honestly.
no. Look for professional chefs. The idea of having to cook for two tops, a preset menu, and everyone is the same. It's some circle of hell. Nobody wants to cook Valentine's Day. It is a work. And let me just tell you, I don't give a how much you love your significant other. Valentine's Day is straight up for rookies.
That's true, though.
Rookies,
Going out to dinner, especially on Valentine's Day, is a rookie move, right?
rookie lovers. It's only cool if you're your first girlfriend or boyfriend, when you're 20 years old. But once you pass 21,
33 for some of us. But I know what you're talking about. So settle this once and for all, Nico and Dave. should people be going to a restaurant on Valentine's Day from a chef perspective?
If you want to lose all credibility.
If you want like good basic food, yeah, maybe.
Like you're not going to get anything interesting because to Dave's point, it's all two tops. Everybody's getting the same.
Yeah, and you're kind of like, to play. I actually wrote a Valentine's Day menu the other day, but like to play this Valentine's Day game, you have to fit in these parameters, right? That like fit what Valentine's Day looks like to other people. So
Well, let's just do the most typical American Valentine's Day menu, regardless of your sort of cuisine. We're going to reverse. Definitely going to be a warm chocolate flourless cake. 100,000%. Not the Michel Bras version with the cold core. It's going to be the Jean-Georges von Richten version, for sure. And
that is for sure.
Lots of vanilla ice cream.
Yeah.
All right.
Second, your only other option is a creme brulee. It's going to be one of those two things on that. For sure.
It's that. It's warm flourless chocolate cake. Ben, would you agree? Protein is what?
Protein's either a big cut of beef or lobster.
What kind of beef? Yeah.
Prime rib is like a big. You don't think so?
Let's
filet.
Channel your inner white person.
Is it filet mignon?
There you go.
There you go.
It is the filet. It is the filet for sure. The tenderest loin.
The inner white person.
Yeah. They can't stop
searching
themselves.
deep.
Wait, so all right.
It's so true.
And then a Caesar salad to start. Nothing wrong with any of that. I'll eat that meal.
Not at all.
I had that meal yesterday at
Right.
Musso Frank's, but I don't want to eat it on Valentine's Day.
But to Nico's point, that is like the most basic prefix in the world. Like you're just gonna get salad, piece of beef, chocolate cake.
Or no. I mean, in modern day era, it's still probably a tuna tartare first course.
Ooh,
it's still out there.
Still
The
yellowfin tuna. Yellowfin
true.
tuna.
That's still out there.
in the ring mold
Depends.
or a heart-shaped ring mold.
No. It's probably got some avocado in there now.
Oh,
So, okay.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
for the sake of argument, let's do this. It is a
Ponzu
Valentine's.
This guy's written 30 of them.
This is a Valentine's Day episode. Have any of you cooked something for a significant other that was a memorable thing? That was a nice special
On Valentine's Day?
Yeah. Or let's say not that. Just generally the idea of cooking something. What's the nicest thing you ever cooked for Grace?
Chirashi.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's her because she likes it.
She likes it.
And you
I'm a smart man now. I've learned. I was not smart before. Now I've learned to make what she wants to eat.
You're like this, but the tuna tartare is in the shape of a heart. What do you mean you don't want this? What about you, Nico? Have you done anything nice for your?
I have, but my wife eats pretty simply, so she doesn't love extravagance. So as long as I make something like heartfelt and tasty, she's down for it.
Heart-shaped and tasty.
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah, exactly.
When I was with my now wife, then reluctant girlfriend,
Still reluctant wife.
we had a Valentine's Day. It was like in our 20s to Dave's point. It's like, this is like a big serious thing. We have to celebrate Valentine's Day. I made fucking chocolate, I think espresso martinis and literally pink tinted martini glasses.
Damn.
Did you read that in Esquire magazine?
It's like
Men's Health?
67.
Cosmo for men.
Excuse me,
Definitely.
it was Maxim.
FHM.
It was FHM.
FHM.
And then I don't have any recollection why, but it was like gnocchi with oxtail ragu.
Wow.
And so totally silly, ridiculous.
Makes all the sense in the world. Bobo really had a huge impact.
Some Bobo for sure. But now it is like it's like a coded thing. I never make gnocchi with. I don't make any of these things anymore. But if I make gnocchi, it's kind of like my little hat tip to my wife, just like, hey, this one's for you, buddy. So this is Recipe Club. We're still going to be talking about the best way, whether it's Valentine's Day or any other day, like Dave said, the 364 other days of the year when you should be loving your.
I'm all love, mother.
What makes a good dish? What makes a good Valentine's dish? A good date night? Special occasion. I'm cooking for my significant other dish. What do you guys think defines this? Let's set the parameters for this discussion. What is like rule number one, Becky, for a dish that would be good to serve your husband?
Well, we do a lot of cooking together, especially for like special occasions. Like it's more of like a team effort. So I think it's something that like we don't make often. It's like because we have like our like arsenal or routine of like things that we go through. So making something that's like special in that regard, that's like new or that we only make like because it's a lot of effort. I think that's like the bar that we're clearing.
So something, yeah, it's not the same thing you would have made on Wednesday or
Exactly.
Tuesday, whatever. Dave, you brought this up in the intro here. What would you say makes a dish more erotic than any other dish? What
Ooh.
helps the eroticism of a Valentine's Day dish?
Pass.
What I'm getting at is a good Valentine's Day dish, in the opinion of our recipe club here, is a good Valentine's Day dish a dish that you can eat and still be in the mood for physical activity later?
For at least myself and some of my friends that are married or significant relationships, there's a bat signal
Mhm.
that you sort of let, because I think for myself, my wife thinks that I'm pretty dense in picking up signals. Would you agree that your husband's a little dense sometimes?
You don't have to agree.
No, I don't know.
No, he's probably on it. I'm not me.
He's picking up what
Yeah.
you're laying down.
He
Okay.
picks up what I lay down.
Yeah,
but I'm not subtle. That's the
I'm-
thing. I'm not subtle at all.
Mm.
I'm like extremely like.
Do you pick up on
direct.
everything your wife's?
No, she can attest to that for
Yeah,
sure.
and it's like, so I have to like make it very clear. Put on the bat signal. I was like, this is.
These
don't
are
have
my
to-
intentions.
You don't have to show up, Batman. You don't have to show up. But I'm just letting you know we need help. And I'm just saying, like, Tarashi's a good example. I will make the most decadent, beautiful, dare I say, erotic bowl of Tarashi I could possibly muster. I'll get the best aged rice. I'll get the best pickled ginger, uni, you name it, everything.
Yes.
Just so I have to say, like,
Huh?
eh?
Maybe.
Huh?
Maybe.
And if it's not that, we go to a restaurant, it's always sushi. It's always sushi because you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Well, you do know in certain instances
Certain
if you've gone
instances,
somewhere where you're like,
but if you do know,
it's not happening
if you
tonight.
do know what's going to happen,
Yeah.
then it's definitely sushi. I'm sure there's other kinds of foods,
Hmm.
but to me, sushi is the only food that you can eat for sure and still do what you need to do after.
just roll around a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah.
I'm never going to get sushi with you.
He's like, yeah, maybe,
Mm-mm.
Nico, maybe.
That
Picking up what you're
signal?
putting down, man. I
How
don't
long
want it.
before you guys cooked for your respective husbands and wives?
Pretty quick.
You pulled it out right away, just as like that was your flex.
It's my only flex, really. So
That's your only
that's all
move.
I got.
I know you waited a while.
6 months.
6 months before you
Wow.
did it.
Yeah. I didn't know she was special.
Becky, how long before you cooked something?
Well, I'm thinking back. I think my husband cooked for me first, actually,
And
which
how-
kind of
how
feels like a
deep-
flex.
How deep into your courting was that?
Like 2 weeks in. So it was like
Wow.
early. We were hanging out a lot though. So I was like, let's have dinner. And he was like, I'll make tacos. And I was like, oh my God, a guy who cooks and I don't have to ask him to do it. Were they very basic? Yes, but they're delicious. And I still eat them
Wait.
once a week.
What kind of tacos?
Well, like
beef heart tacos,
beef
artichoke heart
Heart
yeah,
tacos.
tacos.
Hearts of
weirdly
palm.
enough, it was like, yeah, no. They were beef tacos, but like, just like classic
Hard shell?
American.
Hard shell or
no,
soft?
We're
Oh,
corn tortilla family. So we
She
do corn
knows what.
tortillas.
She's Miss Taco Bell, guys. Come on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
you
Dave,
can't
I
top the
feel like
Taco
you've
Bell.
really seen me.
I do.
Like that has been like the overarching theme of this. Thank you. No,
Tell
we
me
do.
she doesn't know tacos, guys.
She
No.
loves Taco Bell. Of course she knows tacos.
She knows everything about Taco Bell, not something. She knows everything.
I am
This being
Taco Bell.
okay, this being your inaugural episode, I mean, break us off a taste for the audience getting to know you. What is your Taco Bell order?
Oh, hell
I'm
yeah.
so glad you asked me this. This is my favorite question that anyone ever asks me. This is super controversial, so like please don't kick me out when I say this. My like favorite Taco Bell item is their breakfast crunch wrap.
Get the out of here. Just leave. No, breakfast crunch wrap. What? That's
I
the
don't
one
know.
Bitch,
where
it's
the
so good.
It's
don't agree.
So,
that's the
Is it
double
like
tortilla.
It's like a crunchy gordita, right?
Well,
With eggs
it's-
and bacon.
have you had like the
cheese,
crunch? Yeah, it's got
jalapeno.
yeah, no jalapeno. Though that would be bomb. That would be really
a lot
good.
better.
But it's got. Oh my, Nico, do you have a? You don't have you had it? And you don't
I,
like it?
I'm a big fan of the regular Crunchwrap Supreme.
Oh yeah,
breakfast,
classic.
so I'd rather not.
Did you try it?
I've had
Rather
it a few
not.
times.
Well, I'm sorry that we disagree on that.
It
I
could have been
also
the
love a
Taco
regular
Bell.
Crunchwrap.
It could have been the one.
Yeah,
I
you
went
know
to,
what?
Breakfast Crunchwrap Supreme with which salsa? Just
Um,
name it by name. I don't know.
I
She's
usually-
not
I don't know.
spicy. She
oh
doesn't
no!
like spicy.
Oh, I love spicy.
I got
I'm a
that wrong.
Diablo. Dave, we
You're
were
one
doing
for three
so
right now,
well.
man.
You
One for
hate
three.
Halloween and you
We're
hate spicy.
Do you even know me? No, Diablo sauce is actually my go-to when they have it,
Yes.
but otherwise, if they don't, it's fire.
Diablo.
Diablo.
El Diablo sauce.
El
Okay.
Diablo. That's what they also call me when I go there.
Yeah, and going back to this whole idea, like I know I've been tooling on February 14th and how stupid Valentine's Day is. I know it's dumb, but I think the beautiful thing about the recipes that were made today, right? Take away the absolute absurdity of celebrating some commercial holiday like Valentine's Day. Take that out of the equation, and I think it's important whether you're going to like, you should know how to cook something special, right? Something that is, as you said, with your partner, something that is a little out of the norm, that takes more time, that is honestly sort of a pain in the
Yeah.
to do, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I agree, I
Because
agree.
like that
Yes.
is love.
Going exactly. So if the sort of tenets of what a good Valentine's dish are sort of something out of the ordinary, but I think Dave, you're right. Whether it's even like you were saying with chirashi, like I'm gonna find the best rice, I'm gonna get the best stuff. This is like it's not half-assing anything. Effort is a part of this. Doing something that is like a pain in the dick is part of it. Now onto the recipe reports. This season, as a first for Recipe Club, each of our 3 members have chosen a publicly available recipe. These come from all of your sort of typical sources, something that you can find if you're just at home and you are searching for something to cook. This is what's going to turn up. They cooked their stuff, brought it to the studio. They all tasted it before we headed over here to the studio. They filled out a little comment card, which I have right here in front of me with some of their notes and thoughts. And we're going to go through each of these recipes one by one, starting, I think, with one of our rookies here, Becky Joiner.
Wow.
So Becky, you do a decent amount of cooking with your husband at
Yes.
home.
Yes.
You, again, for those who don't know, we got to know Becky over the past year because you were one of the producers for Dinner Time Live.
That's true.
You
You might see her in a couple episodes.
you might see her on camera for 2 episodes.
I
One
think just
episode.
one. Well, I was physically on camera once and I got mentioned once, but it was not a proud moment. So we're gonna forget that happened.
Wait, what happened? What was
Oh,
that?
let's move on.
Yeah,
Uh,
move on.
My one favorite detail about Becky's time though is she wore a lot of hats for the show, including, during our rehearsal days, Becky would often sit in and play the role of whichever celebrity guest was going to show up the next
This
day.
is true.
So you played a wide range of possible celebrity guests, but you chose a on its face, I'm going to say, kind of unexpected recipe to cook for Valentine's Day. It is from the website Budget Bites,
Mhm.
BYTES,
Mhm.
Budget Bites.
Mhm.
It is the best easy weeknight pasta sauce recipe. This is from I guess a popular blog from a woman named Beth Monsell. It's been around since 2009. The whole thing is like sort of keeping the budget low.
Mhm.
Becky, why the hell did you pick a easy weeknight pasta sauce recipe to bring to the table?
Can I
here?
add, because I still don't know the rules? You don't have to make a facsimile of the recipe, right? You have the carte blanche to do whatever you
You
want.
have the idea is we're just trying to arm the audience with good advice. So if you say this is a good recipe, except for change this, and this, great.
Or you could be like, you know what? I make my own version of this. Anyone?
Mhm.
Okay.
Dave is setting himself up for.
He also set me
down
up
the line.
beautifully.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Because that is what happened.
Becky,
Yeah. Okay.
convince us that the best easy weeknight pasta sauce recipe from Budget Bites is actually a great Valentine's Day recipe.
So, just for quick context, Budget Bites was the blog that taught me how to cook when I was in college and I was super
Wow.
broke. So, I've made pretty much everything on that website. And that pasta sauce is something that I've made many, many times. It's what I like about it is that it's pretty versatile. You can kind of like make it fancier for Valentine's Day, but you can also do it exactly how it is online, and it's pretty much great. Um, I will say I always double the seasonings in pretty much every recipe of hers. No offense to Beth, she's fantastic, but like I tend to go
Boring. You're boring.
It's a little bland sometimes. I don't know. But
Sorry, Beth.
sorry about it. But for Valentine's Day specifically, I took inspiration from my grandmother, who was like the best cook in my family, was like the first person I like ate the food of and was like, this is like amazing. She was Russian and like grew up in the Great Depression, very much like scarcity mindset. So all of her recipes, it's like there's no like, oh, it's this many tablespoons or this many. It's like this ingredient and it makes like 18 gallons. So my whole like life has been like a quest to try and like recreate this one sauce that she has. And so what I love about this Budget Bites recipe is that it's a really great, just kind of like staple, like starter almost. And you can add a couple things to it to zhuzh it up, and you can cook it for longer than, like she says, at least 30 minutes. I did it for like 4 hours. So it's like if you have the time and you let it sit for a while and simmer more, then it benefits it. But if you make it just as is, it's still really solid.
Well, the other thing that excited me when you said you were going to bring this recipe in was that you literally did make this
Yeah.
for Valentine's Day last year
Mm-hmm.
with your husband.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, do you like? I don't want to spoil the headline here. You tell me what you guys
The
did.
big surprise. So my husband loves to make pasta from scratch. He got really into it in like the last year and has been doing it like a lot. So for Valentine's Day last year, we
It
had
seems like maybe he's doing it at the expense of some attention paid to his wife. Maybe am I reading into this a little bit too much?
Listen, is he kneading that dough for 15 minutes when he only needs to do it for 7? Yes. Does that make me
When he could be
sad?
kneading your
He
shoulders
could be
instead.
kneading my shoulders or my feet. That's all I'm saying. That's
No,
all
so
I'm- no, I'm
this
just
was
kidding.
a super cute thing. He made the pasta,
And I made the sauce.
and then you merged them into one. Come
yeah.
on.
And that's honestly how we cook most of our meals. It's like we're each responsible for different things.
Yes, Mr.
Like,
Chang.
I'm just nothing but love here. I just wanted to, for the record, know the rules here. Are you allowed to get assistance?
We gave special dispensation
Okay.
here.
I
here's
just
the
want to
thing.
know.
If you want to, you're very. It's a good point, Dave. You're very welcome to judge this based entirely
Because I'm
on the
rooting for
sauce.
her.
I'm rooting for you
Yeah.
too, Dave. We're all friends here. We all
He's
love
rooting
each
for
other.
you while also asking a point of order rules
It's
question.
like, it's disqualified.
All right, so talk us through the recipe. So it's ground beef. It's pretty straightforward.
Pretty straightforward. I like that she calls for both olive oil and butter, which I feel like the first time I read it, I was like, that feels excessive. But it does kind of give a nice richness to the sauce that a lot of recipes don't have, especially for like a bolognese or a ragu. Um, yeah, the things that I added, it did change the flavor profile quite a bit because I added a lot of different seasonings. I also, the big thing of my grandma's sauce that I like added to this was bell peppers,
Mm.
and like added an extra onion as well, and then a little bit of garlic too.
So I had a couple of questions about this. So this being a it's
What are the ingredients in this?
so the ingredients for this recipe are half a pound of ground beef cooked in olive oil with a small onion, 2 tablespoons of butter, a big can of crushed tomatoes, half a teaspoon of Italian seasoning blend. Did you use an Italian seasoning blend?
I did, but I used 2 teaspoons. Yeah,
You
I
quadrupled the
I
Italian
did
seasoning
quadruple
blend.
it. I used a
Uh,
lot of seasoning.
fresh
I
cracked
went all
Somebody's
in.
boring.
Sorry, Beth. I
It's
had
on
a
a
couple.
budget.
I had a couple recipe specific questions for anybody
Yeah.
who might be chasing this same recipe. I noticed a couple of things. You said it has olive oil and butter,
Yeah.
but I found this instruction a little weird. Nico and Dave, you tell me if you feel similarly. It says to sort of brown your beef, then drain off the fat,
Oh, I don't
and
do
then
that.
add butter.
Oh, I don't do
which
that.
Seemed a little crazy to
No,
me.
that's a problem that I have with the recipe too, because she's like, you cook it in olive oil and then you drain off the fat. I'm like, then you're also draining off the olive oil. And I'm like, you can always skim the fat off later. So
Sure
I
Beth's
just leave
name is
it.
Beth and not Karen.
Fair
Right?
question.
It's just like sometimes when you're reading a recipe like this, like you get struck by this moment where it's like, now drain off the fat and add some more fat. And it's like, wait, but fat is flavor.
Yeah.
And also you just drained it off to add it back in. You already covered this. You cooked it for 4 hours instead
Mhm.
of the required 30 minutes or the instructed 30 minutes. And then this was, I thought was a little funny. She doesn't season this thing until the end.
Yeah, that's also something. I've done it the way that she has it in there, and it turns out like fine. The thing with like canned tomatoes, it's like if you have like they're already kind of salty and then you add the salt at the end, you do have a little bit more control. But I personally, like if I'm making the sauce and it's simmering a lot longer, like I want the salt to like be added onto. Like I want it to kind of
There's
grow.
nothing weird about that. I think that is extremely well thought through. Right?
No salt until the very end of the.
Well,
the
she
thing.
just said that a lot of the canned tomatoes,
Yeah,
Chris,
that's true. That is true.
has salt in it, and she doesn't want it to over-reduce and gives her greater control. Didn't you hear the same thing?
I that's what I heard.
You put that
Now,
so much better
but
than I
neither
did.
one
Thank
of you would say salting as you go with a ragu.
In this particular recipe, yeah, I think it makes sense.
Okay, fair enough. I asked and answered.
I would
Put some
salt.
respect on her fucking name.
You just called her Karen Monson.
I would salt a little as I go, and then, but like
Listen, all I know is this. I'm just cutting already to the tasting of it. It tastes delicious.
it did.
Yes.
Thanks, Steve.
It was extremely flavorful, and I thought it was perfectly seasoned and salted. I loved it.
I thought it was great, and especially you reduce it for 4 hours.
You could
Yeah.
taste it.
Yeah,
It
oh
was
yeah.
very concentrated, and as I whispered to myself while walking away, I said to Andrew, "That's the kind of shit I would eat like all the time. It was in the
Wow.
fridge."
Dave, and it gets better in the
I
fridge. So I
know.
love that you said
I
that.
agree.
Thank
Like
you.
It was great.
my sort of this was like the definition of like comforting to me.
Yeah.
You know, it was like a nostalgic flavor too. Is it like
She made ciabatta bread too.
I
Yeah.
know she made her own bread because what you said, you panicked a little bit.
I panic made bread. It was like the thought came to me last night, and I was like, "Oh shoot!" Like the recipe I have, which also is from Beth. It's supposed to like proof for like 14 to 16 hours, but like my house is freezing cold, and I only had 12, so I was like, "We're doing it anyway."
Damn,
So it
balls to
was-
the wall.
It was super flat and like a little under, but it worked out because the thing is like you can't have that sauce without having some bread to dip it
Right.
in. Like that's so crucial.
I had a second serving of that bread with just the ragu.
I saw it.
So I'm gonna dip
love
in
that
here
so
on a
much.
few
Thank you.
of the comments we got from Nico and Dave on your pasta. They Dave, as he said, he found it well seasoned. Nice chew on the pasta texture, good pasta texture.
Good job to my husband Jess.
Salt, arrow flavor. Dave, care to explain?
It was good. It's all good.
Good, good. Nico, solid bread, exclamation point.
Thanks, Nico.
Sauce is nice, not greasy. Nice spice level. I love the idea so much of what splitting the duties with your husband. I thought the bread was really nice too, and I liked that little kick to the sauce as well.
I put a little too much cayenne in by mistake.
Mm-mm.
It was
I
perfect.
thought
Well,
it was
Okay,
great.
that's good. Okay, good.
To the criticisms,
What?
A little too spicy?
Dave said maybe too spicy,
Maybe too
but
for
I-
people like Beth.
but then in his defense he said, but I liked it.
Nice.
Dave had a suggestion though, pasta shape maybe.
I don't think
Oh, yeah.
spaghetti is one of those things, in my opinion, very, very few places can make it fresh. It's not a great fresh pasta. I think that clearly your husband knows how to make pasta. I would prefer maybe a pappardelle
Ooh.
or a wider noodle to actually grip onto that sauce, and that's what I would have done.
He's going to be so happy to hear that because that was what he wanted to do. And I was like, no, you're making spaghetti. We're
Uh,
doing spaghetti.
Nico had the
I'm
same.
sorry, I didn't. We could edit that
No.
out. I do not want you to.
No, leave it in.
It's about having point advantages over your partner here.
No, it's about giving him points. I'm
No.
Do it here.
Love is a competition. Nico had the same critique actually. These are all I should say this. We've never done this on the show before. Everybody, they knew whose dish they were tasting, but these ballots were all filled out in relative secret. Nobody was seeing what other people were saying. Nico also thought a nice little pappardelle would have been a good pasta shape. You thought maybe a little acidic,
Mm.
The tomatoes felt a little acidic, I felt.
but very much its own homemade, like Nona made it. He said, and I feel like everybody was very into this, buddy.
That's so nice. That makes me really happy.
It was
Dave
delicious.
said,
Aw.
"Bread nice."
Wow.
Exclamation point.
Wow.
Bread nice.
Bread nice.
Good job, Beth.
Wow, that's gonna go on my tombstone.
Okay.
Becky Joiner. Bread
So
nice.
that's your initial foray. You can breathe out a little sigh of relief. You did.
Yeah,
Whoa.
Sorry. I
A
thought that was gonna
grunt
be
of
little-
relief.
I thought it was
Breather.
gonna be littler than
Easy,
it was.
Steffi Graf. Our second recipe today that we're going to review comes from Sally's Baking Addiction. This is a very popular website. This is the top hit for a souffle recipe. It's got a 4.9 rating based on 423 reviews. And none other than Mr. Chang is the one who chose to do chocolate souffle. Dave, why'd you choose chocolate souffle? And what was your experience making this recipe from Sally's Baking Addiction?
Well, I didn't read the recipe.
What?
I just asked for the ingredients that were going to be in the recipe to be there. And I sort of wanted to see if I could recreate the recipe without, being told the orthodox way. There's maybe a different way to do it. And I haven't made a souffle in a long time, which is why I thought it might be fun to do. And also, if you know how to whip out a souffle for your partner, that's also a bat signal.
Oh, 100%.
That's a big time bat signal.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's ever made someone a souffle without wanting to
listen,
get.
I'm not here for me. I'm here for the listener. I'm here to help you out. You don't need to read Chris's favorite magazine, Esquire.
Again, FHM, man. A lot of good info.
I'm telling you right now, just learn how to make a souffle. It is actually pretty simple, and it's a great. Hey, pay attention! I need something. Move.
So I was there. I bore witness to Dave making this
totally
recipe.
off the cuff.
Totally off the cuff.
Didn't measure a thing.
Although I mean, yes, off the cuff, but you have witnessed a great many souffles being made.
Correct.
What is there's variations, but what's the basic
here's
process?
Quickly the most important things. Egg whites to turn it into a meringue, stiff peaks is important. You don't want it to be grainy. So that's one thing. It's got to be, that's what gives it the volume, right? The whole thing about making your vessel where the butter is lined up. So a lot of time you're taking a paintbrush and you're brush stroking the butter so it's all vertical. That's because you're creating a channel for the souffle to actually puff up.
When you're greasing the actual ramekins before you
so
put the batter in.
And that's what you put sugar. So the whole thing is really simple. It's some of the recipes. I think this one is no flour. It's egg yolks, sugar, chocolate, and you whip in. You fold in the egg whites with some sugar in there as well, and that's it. And the vessel itself, the ramekin, it really needs to be properly buttered with like room temp butter, and you sort of put a ton of sugar in it. You shake it all out, so it is almost like a lubricant for the souffle itself. And
tell us more about this lubricant, Dave.
This recipe did not come from Sean Combs, okay? All right? Listen, so I would say this. Another thing is important is the temperature. I think that a lot of people don't get this right, and I work for a chef, and it was a big thing for them to never this is a nightmare for restaurants, number one. If you're in the weeds and you have souffles, you're going down like you've never gone before. It sucks. If you don't know what I'm talking about, but if you do know, you know. They're weeds, and then this is the worst weeds you could possibly put yourself in.
I mean, the logistics of it are insane, right? Because if the second
you can't open up the oven,
you open the oven, they're all dead.
So like I like to set my oven at like 450, 475 to start, because once I open that oven, it's going to drop to like 400 to 390. And then once I put in the souffles, whether it's 2 or 4 on the tray, that absorbs heat too. So it's going to drop down again to 375 or so. I want it to be at 425 at minimum. So I try to like crank it up as high as I can. And then about a minute or 2 minutes later, let it to recalibrate so it gets to like 425 at minimum. Once I feel like it gets to 425 internally, not on the stupid dial outside, then I'll drop it down to 350 to 375, about, 15 minutes.
So your idea is basically you want it to stay as close to 425 as you can.
And I tell you right now, this is only because I've seen thousands of them made from the other side of the kitchen, right in front of me.
Yeah.
And I've never made one. I haven't made one in 20 plus years. And and I also think another thing, I don't like souffles with ice cream. I think it seizes the center up. It should be almost like a warm flourless chocolate cake, like almost liquidy inside. And if you put ice cream in the center, it just creme anglaise is non-frozen ice cream,
Mhm.
pour that in, and that gives it cools it down just enough where you can eat it hot. Because the whole thing about a souffle is you need to eat it where it's going to burn your fucking mouth. Right? Anglaise is super important because it cools it down just enough where you can eat it like it's a hot cup of coffee.
Yes. It is. Yeah, it's the cream in your coffee, and it is the reason why
So
it
you
has to
crack
be
it
eaten hot
open
is
and you
the
pour it in.
second that this souffle cools, that gel structure is going to collapse and things are going to fall apart.
The recipe did not say you need creme anglaise.
Yes.
Which I thought was totally
Blasphemy.
ridiculous. Which is honestly why I didn't even read the recipe.
Let's get into the recipe. Let's get into the recipe of it a little bit here. So I will say, to Sally's Baking Addictions credit, like, this is an insanely detailed recipe, as probably all online souffle recipes are going to be. It's, pictures step by step, a demo video, very, very thorough. Watching Dave make it, there are, I don't know how to say this. Like, there's variations, but like Dave said, it's kind of, you're going to follow a playbook when you're making a chocolate souffle. So the similarities, her recipe is kind of a 1-to-1 yolk to egg white ratio. You're whipping the egg whites into stiff peaks. You're using the the yolks for kind of the custard. Dave also did basically a 1-to-1 ratio. Ended up being about 5 egg yolks and 5 egg whites
total.
The Dave you did end up doing a couple things different. You added, I think also the reason why you did more eggs is Dave just cooked with what was laid in front of him, and there were 2 bars of chocolate instead of 1, so he just melted them both. So you need a little more egg to build them out.
I added cream,
a little cream to loosen it up.
That was leftover because I had the anglaise, and I kept that because I was like, maybe it's going to be too thick. I don't know. I don't want to throw it away. And I made a matcha. I used matcha, powder matcha, because I think that sometimes that bitterness you get from the matcha, besides, again, the energy you might need to have some stamina to stay up at night, doing the things that you're hoping to do because you're making a souffle.
Collaborative math solving.
Matcha, besides being a really nice vector for umami, right? Never used that combination of words before.
It's like you're reading my chest tattoo.
Is also a wonderful source of bitterness,
yes.
Right? And I think when you add that to the anglaise, to the actual center molten middle, it like makes it a little bit less sweet and cloying.
Mm-hmm. So your 2 big criticisms right off the bat or your one main criticism of this recipe was, you asked, does it call for creme anglaise? And it did not. And to your earlier point, creme anglaise is essential. You can't have this without creme anglaise.
Yeah, it's like, peanut butter jelly sandwich, but there's no jelly in it. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like an ice cream cake, no ice cream. I was like, what is this?
You added a little cocoa powder just for some extra chocolatey oomph. I have 2 questions sort of based on the recipe, and then we're going to get to the feedback here. So this recipe, Sally's recipe specifically, is a flourless recipe. You added to this whole batch a
2
heaping
tablespoons.
2 tablespoons of flour.
I made this like the New York Times or a lot of food publications inspired by.
What do you think?
Inspired by.
Right.
Becky.
This is no longer Lasita's recipe. This is adapted from.
We can't get
Nico's.
sued.
What do you think what was the function of adding a little flour? Do you think, or you just want to
I have no idea, because that's just how you're supposed to make it.
There you go. That's what I would have said. Yeah, exactly.
The other funny thing that we latched onto about this recipe, I think she says something about like, the souffle is only going to be as good as the chocolate that you choose, and then she recommends either
that was the chocolate she recommended.
It was either Ghirardelli or Baker's brand chocolate.
Listen, it's fine.
If you had your druthers,
I'm not trying to be a snob here.
No, but be a snob for me for a second. You're making this for your beloved wife. What chocolate are you actually going to go for, you think?
Something that is just expensive enough.
Fair enough. Okay, let's get into some of the feedback. Becky, I forgot that. Becky
also, it's important to set it in the fridge after you whipped it and put it in the ramekins, because that it gives you that we were talking about earlier about the typical American menu, flourless chocolate cake. You can make this without flour, and if you don't use anglaise, and I'm not saying you need to make it, it gives you that warm, gooey, raw cake.
Yeah,
center.
so this is a great point that we should bring up too. So and to Sally's credit, she recommends you chill your batter before you bake it. But Dave baked one straight from batter into the thing and went in. It was delicious. But then he put the rest into the fridge, waiting for you two to arrive at the studio, and that was what you ate. And I think just that chill, right, Dave, like gave you that kind of like molten.
But it was also the intent.
Center.
My intent.
Yeah. He likes you guys more than me. So the one he gave me was slightly cakier than the one you guys ate. Let me get into some of this feedback. We have, here's just some adjectives to throw at you, Dave. Some things that were said. Fluffy, perfect texture. Chocolatey, not too sweet. Nice, crispy exterior. Seductive. Gooey.
Goddamn right, it's seductive.
Yeah, airy, nice lift on it. Nice little puff.
Lift.
Nice lift.
Sensual?
Seductive. I didn't get a sensual, unfortunately. I can't make these things up. You got seductive,
Always
not
have to aim
sensual.
for something.
Some questions that our panel had here. Interestingly, both Nico and Becky wanted more on glaze.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
A little
It
more
was
on glaze.
really
Well, you clearly could have done that it was there if you wanted to.
I had that thought later. I was
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
I should have just.
But I wanted just enough, because usually when you're in a restaurant, they pour it and they'll leave you the sidecar of it. So that's why I wanted to do it. I wanted to make sure that you at least got the right temper of the souffle itself, so you could then choose.
Yeah.
It's almost like when you get like a shaved ice, you can then pour the rest on.
Listen, I agree. It was their fault, not
Yeah.
yours.
I didn't say it was your fault. I think it was mostly Chris Ying's fault.
I forgot that when you served Becky and Nico this dish, you told them that the name of this dish was
True love.
True
True
Love. Let's see here. Becky, you when Dave plated this, I'm sure if you're watching this on Spotify or on YouTube, you will see the picture of this. Dave made a beautiful little forest of mint sprigs with some raspberries dancing in the
forage
field of
from the
mint.
supermarket.
Forage from the most hard to reach aisles of the supermarket. Becky, this was a self-criticism, possibly didn't know what to do with the mint.
Mhm.
It was. I literally wrote in parentheses, "This is a self-criticism," because
It was
didn't-
excessive.
No, it was beautiful.
Thank
But I
you.
was like,
Garnish
was I sp-
alone was
I
like
didn't,
$7.
and I didn't know if I was allowed to ask or not. I was like, Dave, do I eat this mint with it, or do I just let it be there?
I think it was sometimes, love is about taking a chance on things, and I took a chance.
No, you
Love is
did.
about excess.
I should have taken
Nico-
a chance and just eaten the mint. That's my lesson.
It's for you eat the chocolate and then you freshen your breath a little bit
Mm,
before
Before
the
extracurricular
kissy
activities.
kissies, which is what we call them. Nico, you wanted a little more matcha flavor. You
I
really
did.
like this matcha
did,
quite a
yeah.
bit.
Mhm.
Well, there was certainly there. So next time I will do better. I apologize.
And here, actually, we have
Listen.
the one question on here. This is a great question from Becky. In terms of this recipe, in terms of, are we recommending this to people, the idea of making a chocolate souffle or following Sally's recipe here? Becky wanted to know, could someone, i.e. Becky, who's never made this, could she do it?
I haven't made one in 20 plus years. I think you can make it. It's not like I've been doing it a lot. It's actually
She made bread in 12 hours.
You can make
Okay.
this. It's not crazy.
guys.
It's souffle is like a lot of things in food where it's got this mystique and aura that's actually a lot of bull. It's to prevent people from knowing that it's not as difficult. It really, there's no magic. It's thermodynamics is what make it. Nope, not the chef.
I
You
think
know?
I saw you casting a little spell
Yeah.
there.
He was whispering. To
Yeah.
The
us.
vector and the umami.
Yeah.
Wingardium Leviosa. Okay. Finally, we move to our other rookie, our first timer, Nico de Leon. You made for us classic Osso Buco from the Daring Gourmet. This is, I think Osso Buco is like a pretty classic, Valentine's Day menu dish. Daring Gourmet popped up pretty early when you search for Osso Buco recipes. It is the blog or website of a Kimberly Killebrew who grew up around Europe and now lives on a farm in the US. And she says, according to Kimberly, Osso Buco, its name in Italian for bone with a hole. So I feel like very Valentine's appropriate.
Wow.
Wow.
Can you explain, please?
I mean, hot zone. Seriously, dude.
I'm just
Bad signal,
reading,
huh?
I'm just reading what Kimberly's saying. Bone with a hole. So, Nico, why bone with the hole, and why and talk us through your experience with the Daring Gourmet's recipe.
I mean, where else would you put a bone, right? No, it was one of those dishes that like, it's one of those things that like kind of Dave was explaining, like these dishes aren't hard to make, but the mysticism behind them is like, ooh, you spent hours and hours and hours in there, which this dish took probably 3 hours to make. So like, yeah, your
But
partner
how
might
much
be
of it was you
impressed.
standing by the stove?
About 2.5 hours of it, but yeah, it's impactful when it's done right,
Yeah. And so for those who haven't had it, tell us what Osso Buco is. Like, what is the sort of classic presentation of this
It's
thing?
a braised veal or beef shank, with some rich kind of tomato and mirepoix based sauce. You could usually serve it with, I did pommes puree, like pretty classic, or like a polenta or risotto if you want to go even richer. Yeah, something creamy.
And it is, it's a Northern Italian dish originally.
Right.
How closely did you follow this? When was the last time you made Osso Buco, and did you follow this recipe?
Last time was probably a decade ago.
Yeah.
And I followed it nearly to the T because I wanted to be the control almost, but there were little tweaks, a couple tweaks that I made, just professional opinion.
What might some of those professional tweaks have been?
So I added a little bit of miso to kind of round it out a little further. I kind of tend to do this in a lot of my food, is like it just adds like a little more umami.
A vector for
A vector
umami.
for umami, exactly. And on top of that, this one is probably a little excessive. I added
A
a
vector
dash.
for umami sounds like something you don't want your doctor to tell you have. Like, I'm really sorry, Dave. It's a vector for umami, and there's nothing we can really do about
this. We could talk
this.
about reverse searing, Lauren.
I added a dash of fish sauce as well for some more umami.
Very Italian.
Yeah.
Garum, little
yeah, exactly.
dating back to the Phoenicians. Okay.
And the gremolata. I personally like my gremolata stretched with a little oil. I don't like a dry.
Gremolata is the traditional accompaniment for this. It is sort of just like a little
parsley,
relish of
zest, garlic. That's really
It's put on a lot of protein dishes in Tuscany.
Right.
Yeah.
And if for those that don't know, it's parsley. It's mostly parsley and citrus skin.
Yeah. And it's just like, especially for these very intense, meaty, heavy.
It was wonderful.
Dishes. It was very bright. It was very delicious.
Gremolata was like perfect for it.
Yeah. And I mean, like I'll ask you the same thing that Becky just asked of Dave's recipe. Like, I do think Osso Buco is one of those dishes also that carries a little bit of like, whoa, it's pretty difficult, pretty intense. Like, the recipe as written is 3 steps.
Yeah.
Like, pretty simple.
Yeah. The braise itself, very simple. Whatever you decide for accoutrement, I mean, that depends on your skill level or whatever comfortability,
Did you use the restaurant to get veal shanks, or did you go and buy them at a store?
I went to Whole Foods.
And they just had them there. Like, you know what? Because Valentine's Day is around the corner.
Exactly.
And you also know what? They're a good partner of ours.
Thanks, Whole Foods. Let me tell you a little something about Whole Foods. That brings me to my point today. 365 organic. Okay, no. We'll get into some of the comments here. I mean, well, first of all, Becky and Dave, when was the last time you guys ate Osso Buco?
I never.
Wow.
I've never had it. It was so good.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Never, or just
I
like.
don't think I've ever ordered it in a restaurant because there's other things I want to eat.
Exactly.
You're like, Osso Buco's never something like, oh yeah, Osso Buco. It's always like, definitely don't want to get that.
All right, some of the commentary here. I'll say this: when we tasted it in the studio, you brought your pomme puree. Dave's first reaction when he took a bite was, butter, huh?
Exactly.
What do you ballpark your butter to potato ratio in your pomme puree?
I went for Chef Robuchon, like nearly 2-to-1. 2-to-1 potato to butter.
Oh,
And it was
the butter is the
apparent.
potato's a loose handshake.
Yeah. Exactly.
I thought it was delicious. It was very buttery, but on top of the butter, I was also tasting the drizzle of olive oil you
Yes.
put on top of
Listen,
that.
people put Robuchon potatoes, and they say it a lot. But if anything, and the reason why people consider it one of the great dishes of all time, the late great Joel Robuchon, and he was the chef at Maxime's, and a lot of people think he was one of the great chefs of all time, past 100 years. He was mostly known for his fucking mashed potatoes, and they weren't mashed potatoes. He used Larat, whatever. It's a longer story with as much butter as humanly possible, but we use the word expression pain in the dick, pain in the to make.
Especially at home.
Especially at home. In the kitchen, not that hard.
Hmm.
It's, but at home, it's you're basically chiseling granite.
Wait, what makes it so hard? Just out of
You don't have
curiosity.
the food mills, the
Right.
Tammy,
It's like the
that-
tools.
you need the tools.
Yeah.
And and just like the willpower to go through the effort of
How much
passing
do I love
thing.
this person?
Yeah, just like, oh my God, we were gonna break up next week anyway. Like, what the hell?
Also, like the physical space for like the elbow grease you're putting into it.
It's not the easiest thing to make at home.
It is, not a home thing. So I really did. I thought it was super rich. The potatoes, everybody universally. Becky described them as silky.
They
I-
were.
Dave,
I think I should have said erotic.
Dave called them sensual
Yeah.
potatoes. Excellent. I thought they were necessary because they were not necessarily a part of this recipe, but I thought the gremolata, like you said,
Now I understand why people might want Osso Buco. It's food Viagra.
It's food. It's
a price you pay
For the
for
for the
a
short
culinary
lasting,
erection.
the short lasting food Viagra.
I'm really sorry, Dave, but your culinary erection is a vector for umami. We've never seen anything like this before. Dave liked the flavor, he liked the acidity from the gremolata. I said the same thing. Like I said, Becky loved the potatoes were silky, beautifully seasoned. I really appreciate this. It's something we talk about often. I didn't think this was over braised at all. I liked the
thank you.
texture of the
I
shanks.
should have written that. That's another thing. Most people say falling off the bone, which is an explanation that you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. Like by the time it's falling off the bone, it is just stringy,
Right.
like over dry, disintegrated,
overcook
flavorless.
it.
You
Yeah.
can
Yeah, you
absolutely
can literally
overcook this.
overcook it.
How long do you think it actually braised?
Is that 3 hours?
It braised for 3 hours.
3 hours total.
Are
Okay.
you paying attention, dude?
No, honestly, I'm not even here. No. I had my criticisms. I was wondering and you answered one of them, like, was it actually the recipe? It sounds like it was, with the addition of a little extra umami vectors.
Yeah.
So it was the recipe. My Dave's criticism, which is sort of echoed by mine, Dave just thought this was pretty heavy, and my criticism
But
was
again, now I know why. Right?
culinary
It's
erection.
it's the risk. You're gambling.
Yeah.
You're taking a gamble.
I thought, my version was no love making after this, so I was wondering the same thing. But honestly, I ate a small portion. That's up to me. It's like it's a priority for me. It's like, what's more important to me, eating more of this or
A little goes a long way, Chrissy.
Wait. Becky wondered. This was more of a question. You can
I
I
love
love
that.
all of your
questions.
criticisms,
I love
Becky. I'm
questions.
gonna criticize your criticisms.
Criticize my criticisms.
A lot of your criticisms are questions. You gotta make these statements.
Because I like to write in a way that it's like a stream of consciousness. That's just who I am.
James Joyce here. Don't question it.
I mean, listen, if I had known that Osso Buco meant bone in a hole, hole in a bone, whatever it was, that would have been a question on there too.
Is it a hole?
I would
bone
have
with a
said,
hole?
Nico, is that why you picked this? Because great. It really does. It sets the
Innuendo.
table.
I think
Yeah.
everybody this was Osso Buco's right up there with the best we've ever had. I mean, Becky, you were
Well-
wondering, was the gravy thin or is this how you like it?
That again was to the recipe.
Mm.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Okay. All right. So we have that concludes our recipe review. That's what everybody did. I'm going to now, after a quick break, I'm going to give each of our club members the opportunity to make a sort of closing statement about the recipe, whether they're recommending this, whether they think this is what you should be doing for the most delicious, erotic Valentine's
Ooh.
dinner date you can possibly have. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. The end of the episode. No, it is the judgment part of things. But before I pass judgment here on these three, I want to give them each an opportunity to stand up for themselves. Becky,
Yes. I'm ready.
you cooked the best weeknight pasta sauce recipe from Budget Bites.
Mhm.
You standing up here and telling us all, listeners, before God and everyone else, that this is the thing that they should be making for Valentine's Day?
I do. I think you should make it. I think you should make it extra long. Like, let it simmer for a couple hours.
God,
Whoa,
no.
whoa, get your mind out of the gutter, friend.
Whoa, okay.
No, take more time with it because it, put more effort. It comes back to you. You taste it. You taste that. And I also have 4 words for you. Lady and the Tramp. Is that four words?
Ooh.
The
most
most erotic
romantic
piece of
scene.
cinema ever known.
It is a classic romantic scene. Maybe there's not a meatball involved, but you don't need it. You
There
just need
shouldn't-
noodles.
There shouldn't be any cross-examination here, but I will ask this question.
Yeah, cross-examine me. It's fine.
Are you recommending this just as a sauce, or are you recommending this as you make the sauce, your partner makes the noodles?
Oh, I definitely recommend that. I think it is always better, especially for a romantic holiday like Valentine's Day, to be a team, to reinforce that you are a team, you're a duo, that you work together. That's what love is, baby. That's what it's all about.
Love is a business relationship. David
Yeah.
Chang, you chose, once again, the Sally's Baking Addiction, or inspired by, adapted from the Sally's Baking Addiction
And
chocolate.
well, it was called True Love.
True
Mhm.
Love. True Love, based on the true story of chocolate souffle.
No, based on the symposium by Plato about Socrates talking about true love, eros, right? And it's the rite of passage. Baking a souffle is a rite of passage to express one's love about the other person, where you complete me. That line from Jerry Maguire, you complete me, that comes from our good man Socrates himself. So this dish is an homage to that guy.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
You heard it here first, everybody.
That was a great
I don't know if
lead.
you understood
Yeah.
it, but you heard it here first. That is Dave Chang's closing statement. This dish is an homage to that guy. Nico de Leon,
hot.
your first foray into the Recipe Club, the first time you've entered the clubhouse. Classic Osso Buco from the Daring Gourmet. Stand up for this?
I do. I thought it was a great recipe. Again, tweak it as you want, but if you make this for your partner, you're definitely gonna get something that night.
Culinary Viagra.
Vectors
All right.
of
I rest my
mommy.
case with that.
So there you've heard it. You've heard all three cases for their recipes. They each stood up in their own unique way for their recipes. Let me ask you guys this really quick. If you weren't choosing your own,
Mm.
which one of your fellow Recipe Club members' recipes would you be recommending? Becky.
Probably that chocolate souffle, honestly. I have a huge sweet tooth too, though.
It's True Love.
It's True
Yeah.
Love by David Chang, which could also be a
but
perfume name.
listen, if you vote for my recipe, you're also voting for your own recipe.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
No, that is
You're also, you're also voting.
rules
You're
here.
also voting for your own
Whoa.
relationship as well. Okay.
Wow.
Dave, if not the chocolate souffle, which recipe are you standing up for as a recommendation?
This is truly, and I did say this earlier when we were at the studio, this is the first time I've ever had delicious food across the board at Recipe Club. And it really changes the whole dynamic of what this is to me. 'Cause this was some kind of penance, and it doesn't have to be,
Yeah.
When, it was really good. So I think that the food that I would eat all the time is what I said, is the spaghetti. But now in small doses, if I'm having some issues, I know where to.
Okay, so the everyday food is the spaghetti, but the 25 milligrams of the Osso Buco is just what the doctor ordered for Dave. Nico, if not Osso Buco, which one of these other recipes are you recommending?
If not Osso Buco, I would go with Becky's pasta. I think like you argued, making that with your partner, making a meal with your partner, I think is a very romantic gesture.
All right,
As long as they can cook.
There you have it. I'm going to take 20 seconds to confer with our producers here, and then an award and then a prize is coming out.
Ooh.
So we'll be right back. I've conferred with my fellow producers of the show. This is a fucking hard decision, honestly, because I did eat all three of these. I ate Dave's first, and I watched him make the whole thing. It was insanely impressive. This chocolate souffle, and all of these dishes I haven't. I mean, Becky's I've had versions of more recently. I haven't had a chocolate souffle in 18 years, and it was delightful. I haven't had Osso Buco forever and ever and ever. Super, super delicious. I'm choosing a winner based on the best sort of recommendation for our listeners for Valentine's Day. What I think they should follow. And I think you should make all three of these are great options. But because it is a couples holiday, I am saying Becky Joiner's recipe and idea to make pasta with sauce with your partner, to split up the duties and do it together, and for the fact that she chose a recipe that is the least Valentine's-y of all of these, and convinced us that it was something maybe you should actually eat on for Valentine's Day. Becky, it's your first episode.
Wow.
And it's your first win
Wow.
here on Recipe Club.
Wow. You know, it's just like fantasy football. I won my rookie year, and then I was like bottom last like 2 years after that. So it feels like that is all I'm trying to
Dave,
say.
what are 2 other ways in which this show is like fantasy football? It's f***ing bullshit. Pure luck. And I quit. Is the thing. This season on Recipe Club, winning isn't just about bragging rights.
It is everything.
It is. It is everything. You are going to get a thematic prize. This. I cooked with love on Recipe Club.
Wow.
Love bug stuffy that David Meyer put on the goddamn ground. It's very dirty now. Is your prize.
Wow.
Congratulations.
I don't know what to say.
Feels wild saying this, but Dave and Nico, you're not gonna leave empty-handed either.
I was hoping to.
Oh, wow.
Thanks to our friends at Meyer Cookware, you're both gonna go home with a IO series nonstick wok, the official
Ooh.
cookware sponsor
Wow.
of Recipe Club this year. Thank you, Becky, Dave, Nico, for joining us.
Talk
on
about
our
a vector for mom.
season premiere. We're so glad to be back here. Thanks to everybody for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe to Recipe Club Official on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube or to the podcast on Spotify. And thank you to all our friends at The Ringer and Major Domo Media.
And to True Love.
And to True Love. Smooch your loved ones, everybody, and cook them something nice.